And I said, well, that's a sore spot. I have a packed 8th house because I was born with a birth defect. I don't buy tickets on airlines I think are going to crash.
Yeah.
And she said, and so you will have this baby.
You know,
it's not predestined. You will make the outcome. And I raised $56,000. You know, I had a husband who was depressed. I didn't know it. I got married at 24.
Okay.
And he was working when I married him and had a big job in publishing. And then tried to start his own business. And the laws changed while we were raising money. And you could no longer give money for a publishing venture. And the whole thing collapsed. And all our savings. And he never really worked again because people told him he was overqualified. And he was sad. And we didn't have, in our family, nobody went to a psychiatrist. You went to your priest, you know, I'm Catholic, or you talked to your mother. But looking back, he needed help. So I had to be the breadwinner. And because I never attended high school, I had to do homeschool because I was born with a birth defect. And I was in the hospital 11 months and then in physical therapy, grueling physical therapy for 2.5 years. That's all my high school years. I was obsessed with education, so I put the children in the private school system in New York and then college and then paid all their student loans. So I was married 17.5 years. We did get divorced finally, but we're still friends and neither one of us got married again. Because the nuns told me, you can get divorced. I said, I don't want to do an annulment. They said, no, you just can't marry again. You can get divorced. I said, oh, well, that's okay. I have my children. I'm okay with that. I said, it's better for the kids. It gets too confusing, in my opinion. And I know people wouldn't agree with me, but I just think it's simpler if you don't marry again. And I had 2 birds in the nest that I had to take care of.
Yeah.
So, you know, I have always had to be the breadwinner. But when you look at your children's little faces, you can't say, I don't have any money. You have to figure it out, you know, and they inspire you. My parents always told me that, but I didn't know it like I know now. I totally understand it now. And people say, oh, I'm afraid to have children. I don't have enough money. Well, I didn't have any. I just wanted to put them in a basket with a little pillow or something. You know, I called it getting the children through the Berlin Wall. Yeah. It was also extremely dangerous for me to have children. Extremely dangerous. I had to write my will. After Chrissy, my first, Christiane, I bled and I had to have 2 blood transfusions. And they said, you're not having any more. And I said, 3 years from now, I'll be back. 2 or none, but never 1. And they said, oh my God, you're impossible. But you know, my mother who knew astrology, I remember her coming over and she had her raincoat on. She had a little shopping bag. I don't know, she was buying apples or something, and her little purse. And she sat at the dining room table. She didn't even take her coat off. She just kind of opened it and she said, how's it going? I said, they're being really negative. And she nodded and she said, what are they saying? Well, they're saying that you may have to bring up the children. Would you do that if something goes wrong? And she said, of course. I'm like, oh, good. They told me to make out my will, so I did it yesterday. And she said, how is your chart? And I said, well, that's a sore spot. I have a packed 8th house. Now, the 8th house is the house of surgery. It's also the house of death. And I never talk about that because you can't tell if it's also the house of taxes and inheritances. And it's got a lot in there. So I don't want to scare the readers, you know. The chances of them dying by next month are very rare. So, but for me, it was very real. And she nodded and she said, shows the condition. And I said, wait a minute. You said shows the condition, not the outcome? She said, no, listen. They wouldn't have asked you to make out the will if you didn't have a packed 8th house. It shows the condition, Susan, do you think you can have this baby? I said, yes. I remember what I said to her. I don't buy tickets on airlines I think are going to crash.
Yeah.
And she said, and so you will have this baby. And I had Diana, my little Diana, who lives here. She works for James Corden. She's music producer and has won 4 Emmys.
Beautiful.
She wants to donate her, just kind of devote her life, I should say, to music. She just loves music and loves listening to all kinds of music. And she's the one that suggests which one. But she said, I make little tapes for James, and I have to be sure he loves the artist I'm suggesting, because my job is to make him shine like a diamond.
You enjoying this so far? Did you forget to subscribe? Make sure to do so. It takes 2 seconds. Just press that little button, the red one. You know the one. Just press it, little like. All right, enjoy the rest of this content.
I said, oh, wow. Well, in a way, Courtney does that for me. You know, that's so nice that he has you and you thinking that way, you know. And she makes little things for him to listen to. But they do have headliners, which he knows them. But in the beginning, she had to go to clubs because the agents would call and they said, what is the show? Well, it's people singing in cars. And they say, that sounds absolutely terrible. But they changed the car for each artist.
Oh, so great. And you know, just to drill it home about how you're saying, do you need some more water?
Maybe. I would love some.
Okay. The way that you said that it's the condition. Mm-hmm. You know,
it's not predestined.
You know, and that
you will make the outcome. And a lot of people don't know that. You know, I'll give you an example. I had Diana in a charming little preschool, but she was just little. And oddly enough, the director of the school was my favorite teacher in 7th grade in a different school. And she did a lot of poetry, and it was 7th grade. And I loved Gretchen. I mean, she was so pretty, and she wore cashmere sweaters and pleated skirts in pastel colors. It was just lovely, and we loved her. She was warm, and we read poetry all the time. And now she had this little school in my neighborhood, and I remember going to her. Things were really tight with us. And I said, Gretchen, I don't know how I'm going to pay the last $3,500. I just don't have it. And it's already April, and I'm so stressed out. And she said, then forget about it. I said, no, I'm not going to forget about it. I have to figure out something. Let me ask you something. I had an idea. You have this little baby auction for the school to raise a little money, and you do it at breakfast time, and you have about 10 people coming, you know. Can I take that over? And can I move it to the evening? And can we have it like in May? You know, when the flowers are coming out. In New York, it's always cold. You're lucky out here. But, you know, and the school was in a church that they rented from a church. They had a whole courtyard with grass and beautiful trees in New York on 88th Street on the east side. So I said, I need a little crew. So I got the mothers. I said, look, we're going to wear evening dress. We're all going to be Vanna White in a cocktail dress, long gloves. You're going to show the product, you know, you're going to, you know, and we're going to have balloons. And some of the balloons will have like a $5 gift. Some balloons will have a gift card for $200 for dinner out. But you won't know. It's like a surprise, you know? And we're going to have an auctioneer. And I gridded up the whole east side, and I had the women going into each store asking for just one gift that we could auction, and every retailer said yes. And we had all different things. We even had experiences, you know, like dinner out, or, you know, rent a car, like we'll give you a day for free. You know, there was all kinds of things. And I raised $56,000. And it more than made up for my inability to pay that year. And I wrote a Bible of how other people could carry it on. And they went higher.
Oh, amazing.
So, you know, if you're stuck, you can think of a way to make sure the person you owe still is okay, you know?
Yeah. And more than okay. From 3,500 to 56,000. I can't take the 56,000
and then she could buy books. And you know how you always hear on TV that teachers just don't have enough money, you know? Now, this was a private school, but Gretchen never overcharged, you know? It was affordable, but yet it was just so hard for me. I mean, it was just, I had to make $100 stretch every week, you know? But, oh, there's my water. Thank you.
If you like this content, make sure that you like, subscribe, and comment below. And we also have amazing link right there for some cool product. I know you want to check it out. I know you want to click it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Come on. You can do it. All right. Until next time, have a beautiful, blessed day.